Well, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you guys, man, the Assassin's Creed Shadows nonsense is truthfully really heating up, and I am honestly extremely shocked just at the actual backlash that's happening straight from Japan. Now we got Japanese politicians getting involved in Assassin's Creed Shadows with Ubisoft, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm here for this. It's about time that a country decides to call out a corporation or a studio or whatever you want to call it, decides to call them out on their complete and utter BS with their nonsensical virtue signaling and their obvious trying to change history because they want to do so just for whatever reason, right? They creative freedom, call it whatever you want, it doesn't matter. The last time we saw this happen was with Egypt and their decision to go after Netflix for trying to make Cleopatra black, and now they're doing it with Yasuke and Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm here for this. I think it's awesome. And we got now a politician that goes by the name of Satoshi Hamada that apparently is going after Assassin's Creed Shadows and wants to bring Ubisoft, the French company Ubisoft, to the Japanese Diet, which is essentially their legislative branch. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Japanese politician Satoshi Hamada signals Assassin's Creed Shadows alteration of Japanese history and promotion of Yasuke could be brought before the Japanese Diet. Japanese politician recently signaled he might bring up Ubisoft and their upcoming game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, before the Japanese Diet for altering the country's history, architecture, and more, as potentially using AI to generate image of the time period the game is supposed to be set in. Now, we've heard all of these complaints, okay? Every single one of these complaints, and they're coming from Japanese people. And as much as Ubisoft wants to pretend like that's not happening, as much as the shills for Assassin's Creed Shadows wants to pretend that's not happening, it absolutely, positively is happening, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is a train that is not stopping, and they're trying to make this train stop, but it's not. I'm very happy to see the Japanese fighting back against this nonsense, because they're essentially being banned. They're being called racist. They're being called all kinds of buzzwords from the people who are supposedly trying to represent their time period. I think it's one of the most oxymoron things I've ever heard, and yet here we are. It says, using Deep L to translate Hamada, he wrote on X, requests for opinions. We have received a consultation regarding the alteration of Japanese history by a French game company. We share the consultation below with images. We have also quoted a post that we believe points out the problem with the game in question. We will be happy to receive your comments and suggestions, including specific requests. And then it says, also translated by DeepL, the quote post reads, don't misunderstand why Assassin's Creed is on fire. Black people are the main characters. I don't really care. Non-Japanese people are flaming on their own. I asked the Japanese expert to make it, messed up the seasons, messed up the buildings, messed up the mannerisms. Did you really listen to him? It's a premiere box with concept art as a bonus, expensive, suspicion of AI that learned the photos of Japanese period and messed them up. Listen, I would not be shocked if AI is the culprit for why everything is so messed up in this video game. Why they are suddenly using Chinese architecture for a game that's based in feudal Japan that any Japanese person is easily able to point out. It wasn't us that pointed that out. It was the Japanese players that pointed that out. And then you guys had the audacity to use Chinese subtext when you had the Japanese trailer. I mean, wow. It's such an insult that you want to try to make it seem as if you hired some form of DEI consultancy firm, that you hired Japanese experts. That's what they tried to say, by the way. They tried to say they hired Japanese experts, and you know who one of their Japanese experts were? It was some random white woman that studies Japanese gay relationships between Buddhas. Like that's the people that Ubisoft decided to hire as a Japanese expert, because clearly that's the most important thing to hire for when you're making an Assassin's Creed game. It continues, we made a concept video. Chinese subtitles are also added by mistake. I don't think it was a mistake. I think they genuinely thought that they have the mindset that most racist people do, which is, oh, they all look the same, so just put whatever looks like Japanese. Just put it on the screen. Quicksilver gathers complaints. Maker is upset. Don't complain, racist. This is where the Japanese gets the most upset. The problem is the manufacturer's negligence in not admitting even one of their own mistakes. Signature Drive begins to demand that the product not be released here and now. Now, listen. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and there's plenty of Japanese people that have said this for me, right? It's not like I have to speak for them, but I've said it before, knowing the culture of Japan, that they are very much introverts, right? They're not extroverts. They're not the type of people that are going to be loud and brash on average for the most part. I'm talking about homeland Japanese, right? So they're not going to do that. So if you piss them off, if you're making them this vocal, which I think is amazing, by the way, but if you're making them this vocal, that means you did something very wrong. You really pissed them off. You hit the beehive, and now you're wondering why you're getting stung. Well, they're out here and they're pissed. And then it says the reference position called the game a serious insult to Japanese culture and history and can lead to racism in Asia. It called on Ubisoft to immediately discontinue the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows and show sincere research and respect for Japanese history and culture. It has received over 81,000 signatures at the time of this particular article. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear. They are never going to not release this game, right? There is just no fucking way. I understand that this petition can get 1 million signatures, and there still is no way that Ubisoft is going to not let this game go through. They have to. You got to understand it from the point of a DEI consultancy, basically run company, right? This company is all for DEI. They have sold their souls, and they sold their entire spirits, everything to DEI. That's it. They worship DEI. So there's no way that they can backtrack on it now. There is no fucking way that they can take Yasuke out of the game and replace him with a proper Japanese samurai. There's no way that they can change the buildings and not, because if they change the buildings, they have to admit they were wrong, and they can't do that. They can't sit there and admit they were wrong. That's not what these companies do. Just like they're not going to admit they were wrong about the subtitles. Even with the art that they were caught stealing from the Japanese Rifle Corps, right? That particular art, the Sekigahara Rifle Corps, they admitted they stole it, and they still kept it in the collector's edition anyway. They kept it in the books. They're like, well, we're going to keep it in the books because it's going to cost us too much money to print it, so tough luck. We're going to make profit off of this one way or another. But hey, don't worry, we'll take it out the game. It's fucking insane. You're still profiting off of stolen artwork in your collector's edition. It's ridiculous. So this particular company is never, ever going to admit they were wrong, at least not in the way that you want them to, not from this particular signature. And we all know that since they worship the throne of DEI, they're going to make sure that this game gets out as much as they possibly can, and they're going to stand by it. That's what's going to happen. Ubisoft Japan also issued an apology for using the back flag of a Sekigahara Temple Core without the reenactment group's permission. The back flag was shown in a promotional video for the game, as noted by former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern. Now, I mentioned this before. I really genuinely believe that Rifle Corps should have went at them harder, right? Because just issuing, just taking an apology, they're going to use your art after you accept their apology. And I think that it was a weak move that Ubisoft, which is the French company that's making this game, Ubisoft, they couldn't make that apology statement on the actual Twitter page for Ubisoft French or Ubisoft whatever. They couldn't do that. They only did the apology on the Japanese page in the hopes that most non-Japanese readers or most non-Japanese people wouldn't pick up on it. That's what they were hoping for. They know a lot of normies are not going to be able to read it, so they just put it on there, and that's it, and hoping most people didn't see it. So we'll see what ends up happening with this particular game, but honestly, I hope that they continue to go after Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Japanese people anyway. I hope they continue to go after it with as much force as humanly possible. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.